Is the new Kia Soul a get it or skip it vehicle? We are showcasing the 2025 Kia Soul GT line in inferior red. Now when you go GT, you get 5 different exterior colors, but only 1 interior color. The EX will unlock up to 9 different colors, and even the GT line will have the same performance as every trim. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over some pros and cons to see whether this is a get it or skip it vehicle compared against the competition. And I'll throw in a problem later on the review, probably towards the drive portion. Starting in the front, the GT line can option LED headlights, daytime runnings, and fog lights. We do not have that. It does have the GT line styling, which is going to have the glossy black and the silver. So the in-your-face grille, it's pronounced. I like the stance to it because it does look aggressive. 6.7 inches of clearance, so it's not going to be the best compared to Chevy, Buick, Mazda, and underneath the hood is going to have the same performance in all trims, which is a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder producing 147 horsepower with 132 pound-feet of torque paired to an IVT transmission, which is an intelligent variable transmission, basically a CVT, achieving 27 mpgs for the city, 33 mpgs for the highway. Now comparing it against Honda, you're basically spot on, but this is going to be a little bit more stylish than their sport trim because you're going to have that glossy black that's going to wrap around the whole vehicle, and the silver will carry on the lower trim. Plus you're getting 18-inch wheels that you can option on the EX, but it's going to start at a 16-inch on the LX. The S will also have a 16-inch, and the 17-inch will carry on into the EX unless you option an 18-inch, but the GT line has its own exclusive wheels. You're also receiving the LED turn signal that's on the side view mirror. They're heated. When you go EX, you're not gonna get the turn signal there, which brings me back to the question, is it a get it or skip it vehicle? For me, I like the styling updates for the GT line. That would be a reason why I would consider it, but the reason why I would skip it is because we're not getting the traditional multi-link rear suspension that typically goes into a GT or GT line. It's still going to be a coupled torsion beam with a McPherson front suspension. So literally the vehicle is the same in all 4 trims. So it's literally just a visual upgrade. And this year we are receiving a special edition, which will get some more style cues, but I don't really want to spend over 30 grand for a Soul. When I look for a vehicle that's everyday, small, at the size of this to get great MPGs, they don't offer a plug-in hybrid or a hybrid trim. I want something that is going to be as least expensive as possible. I think Kia does a good job keeping it in that 25 grand perimeter, because when you go into Honda, the HR-V, it's going to have less torque than this. It will have more horsepower. The same thing with the Chevy Trax. Mazda, the CX-30, will have the most horsepower and torque in class, but you're paying almost 30 grand or right around $30,000. So it is a huge increase. And if you go to Mazda or Chevy, you'll get an actual transmission instead of the CVT or IVT transmission. The rear, with that optional package, you can get LED taillights. They integrate into the glossy black, and it wraps around the whole rear window, so it gives kind of a 2-part design to it. Now the twist is, look at the lower. Dual exhaust finishers housed in the center. You don't receive this with the Mini that has that new modern design, so they definitely nailed it with the sport styling. But the problem that comes into play, you don't have a PHEV, you don't have a hybrid, you don't get any different choices with the engine or suspension layout. You're just paying for styling, and when you go into the GT line, you get the least amount of colors. The LX will have 6 different colors. This only has 5. That goes into the S, and the EX will top it at 9 colors. But then even in the interior, you only have 1 color to choose from here. It just doesn't give me a lot of options, especially when I'm looking at different competition. Quick release going into 18.7 cubic feet of storage. It does sit up a little bit. You get a little storage net here that can fasten to close up. Bag holders on the side. The LED lights, you're not going to receive those. You will have a tray here that you can add that will give you a little bit more of a flat floor. Otherwise, it's going to go deep, and underneath here, you're going to have a spare tire. Split fold the rear bench in the back at a 60-40 split, maxing cargo to 62.1 cubic feet of storage. The key fob to the Soul GT line. Manual seat adjustment for the front. You can option power seat adjustment. It does come on the S and the EX. Heated seats is an option. This is a leatherette interior seating. Cloth seats will be on the base and the S, and the EX tri-coat seat trim. And you're gonna notice when you're going up from the base, you get the 10.25 screen, digital gauge cluster is standard. Let's fire it up. The dashboard is going to be round, that goes into the door panel. Harbin Kardon is an upgrade. It's part of the same package that will give you the heated and power seat adjustment. They'll also add ambient lighting that will go into the speakers, and it is still a driver-focused setup, but you have a ton of room on the passenger side. Going into dual climate control settings, the base will be just a single climate control. The top screen, 10.25. We have navigation. You can also expand this. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. This is a quick wedge. You still have physical buttons, so I like that, where you can just simply touch the touch screen itself. With Kia Connect, put it into reverse, and we have a reverse camera. The trajectory does expand. When you click on the sub menu, you can change the camera layout for towing or just change it back. It doesn't cover up the full screen, which is always a con to me. Wireless charging pad that starts on the top, USB ports, 12 volt, little area here for storage, glossy black around everything. Driver mode select, you only have 2 driving modes. So normal and sport, it will change the gauge cluster to the red. Unfortunately, to change the gauge cluster layout theme, you gotta go over here and then you can change different themes. And you can do so with the quick setup button here. Leather around the shifter as well as the steering wheel start on the S. Square bottom, so it's a sporty steering wheel because this is the GT line. Multi-function, gloss black around the steering wheel. It's going to be more sporty, opens up into a pretty deep storage pocket, and check out the leg space. They just carve out a ton of space for this small SUV. Headroom is not a problem. You get a moonroof, door panel and dash, you get that red that goes into it. Unfortunately, there's only one color option for the interior for the GT line. It's gonna be more sporty, one touch up and down only for the driver window with a long storage pocket, but it opens up right here in the front. For the back seat, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrest. This will not be on the LX, nor will the push button start or the smart key. The door panel will have the same segment found in the front, so it's sporty, just a smaller storage pocket. Really, you can only fit a beverage. There isn't any storage behind the back of the driver's seat, but you do receive storage behind the passenger with 2 USB ports, plenty of leg room. The same thing with headroom. Again, Kia just carving out space everywhere. Sliding into the center, 6'3", feet space is more than enough. Butt, leg, and shoulder space is the same. And check out the headroom. So this could be a perfect small SUV for a family under 26 grand, but do you think it's worth it? 147 horsepower with 132 pound-feet of torque, 2 different driving modes, no change to performance or suspension. It's really just styling going into the GT line, which is tradition for the GT line in any Kia. However, usually they would change out the rear suspension and give you a multi-link suspension. So I kind of wish that they did that here. As for performance, the everyday is going to be more than enough. MPGs is pretty darn good considering this is an SUV with that much clearance. And when you're driving it in sport mode, it actually is a little bit more easier and less weight on the pedal than just in a normal drive. Now, obviously, as you drive these vehicles, they will start learning and adapting to your driving habits, making it a little bit easier in the sense of the pedal feel. Maneuverability, not an issue. The steering doesn't really have any weight, so as for comparisons to Honda and Toyota, it's going to be kind of spot on. Toyota's going to have a little bit more of a heavy wheel. Suspension itself, you will feel some of the imperfections, but the seat cushion itself is pretty comfortable. I'm not digging all of the exterior noise that's coming in. The sound deadening could be a lot better. I think Honda will take it on that. But it actually feels a little bit more sporty whenever you are comparing this to Honda and Toyota and you're getting a bargain deal. Taking me to some pros and cons. The pros, obviously, is you're getting the style updates when you go into the GT line. We also receive a special edition this year, so I think that's kind of cool. But then the con, there isn't any update to anything else. It's just literally features. The pro is you can still option features. So going this route, you just tick the box for one feature and it basically unlocks every single thing, making it fully loaded. When people pull out in front of you, do you have enough braking distance? Well, today we have enough room to move around, so it's not a big deal with that. It doesn't feel very heavy at all. So I like that, especially whenever you're considering in and out, your daily use, light to light, and traffic. It's not that wide of a vehicle. They do a great job giving a ton of space in the center. You don't have a pass-through, but literally you could throw your keys kind of everywhere. The door pockets is also another con because I kind of wish it expanded out a little bit more so that way you could fit a little bit more storage in them. It's not very comfortable on the sides either for your armrest area, but even going against Honda and Toyota, that's going to be the same thing. The flat bottom steering wheel is definitely a pro because you usually have to pay over 30 grand in any vehicle that it would compete against to have something this performance style. So I think that Kia does a great job in the sense of giving you that extra without putting a price tag on it. Turn radius at more or less a stop point. It's going to be about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. It's not meant for off-the-line performance, but it gets up to speed quick enough. Is it worth it? I like the styling elements to it. Pricing, it's very hard to beat considering all the package that you're getting with it, so I would say yes. Would I skip it? Yes, because you can get more performance vehicles, but not at this price point. But typically when you go GT, they offer you an option to get you more performance. So Kia, give us a little bit more performance in the Soul. That's the only thing that it's missing to give us that extra treat in the drive. But as for competition, this is going to be the better value. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the memberships, live streams, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Regal Kia for giving us this 2025 Kia Soul GT line for a car review.